What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to The Climb, Episode 2, Season 3. Joining me today is, once again, Venom. Welcome back to The Climb. How are you doing, sir?
Good. It's a Tuesday, some more summit action
More
to
summit
talk about.
action. And my special guest today, no cool introduction, but he was Roblin's ex-manager slash captain, Gargara official. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. It is quite cold here in the good old Midwest, but we're enjoying the times.
Enjoying times. And I think let's get to know our lovely special guest this week, Mr. Gawr. So, when did you start playing in Summit? This is a question I ask all of my special guests.
Yes. I started playing last season, but technically I played before last Summit season.
Oh,
I don't remember what the occasion was, but there was a day where you guys hosted a full team, just like 2-day tournament.
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I brought my tournament team over to, just have some fun over there, and we actually made it to finals. I don't remember who we played against in finals, but I know we kind
Uh,
of got dumpstered.
Oh yeah, because I'm
Owen,
pretty sure you were playing against Owen. I think Owen's team.
Probably. I do
yeah.
remember seeing Elo Dad and Nickis, I think. I could be capping, but yeah, that was a rough game, but that was my first experience here for Summit. And then I showed up for Summit Season 2 as a manager. And shout out to all my boys at DPT. We got Venom, Brissy, Rob, Charles. Great guys. Didn't really perform as well as I thought we would, but, it is what it is. And we're
Yeah.
back for this season, ready to show everyone how exactly I manage, which is not at all.
Yeah, I mean, DPT was definitely a fun team to watch. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, you guys were definitely the fan favorite team of last season, just because of honestly, Brissy's just a character, and he's a legend, and
Brissy's
he brings just the mood, and then Rob is just another one of those like guys you can't really hate because he's just such a good guy.
yeah.
But
In the
yeah.
support,
Oh, yeah. The Venom was okay, I guess.
Yeah, that guy showed up for games. That's all he really
Yeah,
needed.
he
so
showed up.
Charles.
Hey, I mean, at least you showed up to games and everything like that. There's been a couple of people on Summit and La Liga who just don't show up to games, which is a bit unfortunate. But let's head on into week 2 of Summit. Week 2 is now officially over. So let's go over the games and key players and key teams. Starting off with Elend's Entourage versus the Bendables. And this series was actually. It didn't seem that close, but I will say, I got to give my boy a shout out real quick. Flash of Night. Dude, this man is his Azir was clean this series. I watched his POV and he had some amazing plays, some really good shuffles. He had a couple solo kills onto Pyrosis, which was insane. Um,
Yep.
and like he was just making a lot happen on the map. And I also want to shout out my boy Injustice. He looked extremely good this series on the Camille and then the Fiora. Incredible series for him and his team. It was a clean 2-0, so can't really complain about it. So shout out to my boy Flash of Night and Injustice, and they are sitting here at second place. And then, like the Bendables, they just kind of struggled this week. I This is a team that I'm not sure where they're gonna go yet, just because they haven't found what works for them yet. Hopefully, they can find it within the next couple weeks, just because there's still a lot of season to go. This is only week 2, going into week 3, so we'll see how they go. Let's hear from Gar first.
Alrighty, and preface to all our viewers out there, I have an entire note sheet on my phone about
He's
literally every single game that's happened, so
he
there's a
messaged
few things I can
he
talk
messaged in the
about.
group chat. He's like, "Hey, I'm working on some notes." I was like, "Okay, cool." I mean, I got a couple notes too. Yeah, and then he showed me, and I was like, "Oh, I don't have that many notes."
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I will also reciprocate. Shout out to Flash of Night. Did not expect the efficiency of play he's put on with Azir. Honestly, if you told me that he was diamond up, I would have believed you with his mechanics on that. Especially with how he did into, Pyrosis, who is kind of like a household name as a mid laner here.
mm-hmm.
Uh, it was just really surprising to see the level of play that was coming out of him. So going over game one, first off, I was not too happy with the draft that the Bendables had, because they went with a strange poke comp of Shyvana top, Ivern, Jace, Ezreal, and Karma. And the issue comes here is, sure, they have a lot of poke, but they don't have any real engage or disengage outside of the Ivern and maybe the Karma. And what also happens with the Ivern draft, especially with Ezreal Karma, is that it's really hard to get Drake control over them, because they don't really have the damage or the wave clear to support it, especially when shoot, what was Elend's Entourage's bot lane that game? I think it was Varus Renata.
The first game,
Website
I
doesn't
think
have it
I
on.
want to say it was Aphelios or something like that, or that
Does
might have
sound
been game
right.
2. No, game 1 was Aphelios, Renata, I think. Aphelios Renata.
Okay. But basically, Aphelios has a lot of tools for wave clear, especially at, past the 3-4 minute mark where he gets the Infernum passive Ergon, which really helps with the wave clear into Ezreal. And so it's just really difficult for them to get these early Drakes. And because Shyvana, really wants early Drakes, because her whole passive is about getting bonus damage to Drakes and getting bonuses off of Drake kills, you're picking a champion who basically doesn't really have a passive at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I dislike about Shyvana top, even though I used to play it, is you don't really have any agency as Shyvana. Because what happens, especially into Camille, is one, your only wave clear is your E, and that is on a 12 scaling down to 8-second cooldown. It's not really good early game, and depending on what items you build with it, it's not really good until like level 8 or 9 when you actually max it for wave clear.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that, you have a Camille who's rushing Tiamat and W. She is gonna wave clear the hell out of Shyvana. She can't really duel with Camille either, because Camille passive just gives her a free shield during dueling. And because she can't get agency top lane, Ivern can't really play for Grubs either. And so basically we're having a bot draft that can't really support trying to get these early Drakes, and a top player or a top draft that doesn't get priority to make any of these plays either. And so it becomes this really huge disconnect of like, what exactly is this team's goal here?
Mm-hmm.
Is it trying to just poke them out? Sure, but then you have to play into Poppy, Renata, Camille, and it's just really difficult to try to disengage from
Mm.
with the champions that they have. So game one was, I want to say, it was a draft diff for Elend's Entourage, but they played their hearts out, and that's really all we can ask for. Game two, oh god, level one from the start was an interesting watch.
That
Personally,
was
I
a
think
fun level 1.
it was a fun level one. I personally think Pyrosis should have kept on with the tower dive instead of just running out from the Azir, because at that point both of them already burned their flash, and you want to get the first blood gold anyway, so there's no point in trying to like run out anyways, because at the end of the day, Nami just walks in, ignites, and she just has to walk it off and die. But on the other side, you could say because Maokai had to learn Flash Q for it, you know, Maokai has one less sum for ganks.
Yeah.
I will, however, be optimistic towards Dandy. He absolutely played the most god tier Rumble early game I've ever seen. I
Mhm.
don't remember what time it was, but there was a 1v2 gank he had to fight, and instead of burning his spells off cooldown as fast as he could, there was a time where he had to wait for his heat to cool down so that he could get empowered Q and W so that he could live the fight between the Zac and the Maokai. Yeah, the Maokai. And so I just wanted to give props to him for that absolute outplay.
Mhm.
Uh, I do like their drafts a lot more in this game, but it still comes into the issue of they don't really have a strong engage, and especially now that they have Danny on a more bruiser carry type pick, there's not really a front line to support the AD carry because I assume they're trying to play around Murph and Pyrosis the most here.
Mhm.
Uh, and then you take comparatively, Zac, Azir, Maokai, and I think there was a Nami bot lane. Uh, there are so many knock-up engage tools right there that there's not really a way outside of Seraphine ult to actually peel off of that.
Mhm.
So ideally, the most that the Bendables could try to do with their draft is play around the Seraphine Rumble combo and see if they can burst them down fast enough with the Felios Cyrelia, but there were too many leads given up towards Elend's Entourage that just made it really difficult for the Bendables to actually try to play around that
Mhm.
combo. And at the end of the day, Flash of the Night goes in 11-3 or something. I think they ended off 15 and
15
2
and
actually.
2. He went
15 and 2, even better than what I remembered.
he popped off this series. Like I'm pretty sure in game 1 he only died 3 times or something like that, or it may have not even been that. But he also had like 10 kills or something like that. He had a phenomenal series.
Yeah. If Flash of Night is playing next season, this is the showcase week for him to pick him up next time.
True.
He is so underratedly powerful for what he's worth.
Yeah, I just looked him up. He's actually only a plat 3. That's that's crazy to me. He's only plat
That's
3.
that's a steal, dude.
Yeah, so Flash of Night stocks are going up. Venom, any thoughts on this series?
Uh, I think the Bendables didn't play great. I think Pai will agree that he didn't play his best. I know he's put the time in. I think it was Jace game 1.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, I don't think it was the worst pick. I think for the amount of time he's played Jace, I think it's not too bad. I think Flash of Knight's Azir is just really strong.
Mhm.
I think Dandy showed a lot of good things in top lane. I forgot what he played game 1, but game 2 on Rumble looked really good. The only problem was his mid and bot were behind, so he couldn't really do anything.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, no, I think Ellen's Entourage looked good. Paul played well across the map on Maokai. Array and Usurper, as expected, they were expected to win the bot lane, and they won the bot lane. I think Ellen's Entourage is one of the top 2 teams. I've said it since the beginning. And I think the Bendables are better than people are expecting them to do.
Mhm.
I think they're scaling. I think between Pai and Tubby, and I think they will right the ship, and I don't think they're I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a top team, but I don't think that they're going to be at the bottom, the very bottom for much longer. I believe in Pai to kind of
Yeah,
fix that.
we will definitely see. I mean, like you said, El Entourage now sitting at second with 5 points, and the Bendables tied. Uh, gosh, what's that? Second, third, fourth, fifth, tied at fifth, with the Krusty Trap at 1 point. So we will see what they can pull off. But moving on to the next game, Gawr's kindergarten class versus Fraud Watch. I'm gonna be honest. There's not a whole lot to say about this series. I mean, um, I'm just gonna say never saw played had a really good game one. Literally playing in the in Fraud Watch's base the like last 6 minutes of the game, and then like it's a bit unfortunate, but Fraud Watch didn't really like have a super great series. I think the only time they had two good fights in game two. That's pretty much it. But after that, they kind of just bled out the game. That's really all I got for this series. We'll hear from Venom first, and then we'll hear from Mr. Gawr.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I wasn't able to watch this because I was out of town this.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
That's right. I forgot about
but
that.
but like from looking at the screenshots of the game, Heiko, as much as he knows that saying that he has an ego at the 80, he delivered. He won the bot lane.
Yeah, isn't he like D?
I love you, Heiko.
Isn't he?
Yeah,
Isn't he like D3 or something like that now, or
He
D2?
climbed
Yeah,
up to
like,
D3 this
hey,
week.
Yeah.
he
Okay.
told
Yeah.
me that he told me that he could compete with Robin Dean's bot lane, and this, like, obviously Robin Dean are
Oh yeah,
better than
he had
Joe,
D3
but
this morning. That's right.
yeah, I think if
Or
Heiko
no,
plays
sorry,
like this,
D2. No, he promoted to D2.
Oh, he's D2
yeah,
now?
Yeah,
I think so.
he is D2. Yeah, so that's crazy.
No, I think if Heiko keeps playing at the level he is, like, I don't think they're gonna beat Robin Dean, but I think he could be in a top 2 or top 3 bot lane, which is a good sign for Gawr's team because Never Saw is no longer playing Vi mid. So, like, that's all. Like, she's playing champions that are actually mid laners and they're
Oh,
winning games. So,
Okay, hold
but
on.
no, like I said,
hang on. No, no,
I
no.
think Fraud shouldn't
I
look
gotta
great. I
know
think Gawr's good.
what was the vibe pick? Like, kind of since you're the captain, Brissy didn't really know. So this is the time for redemption here.
Alright, so I only allowed the pick because I know of the strat itself, because I used to play some Vi mid too. Basically, the whole point of Assassin Vi mid is literally to delete the backline, and what we were supposed to draft is follow up for that to make sure that we can capitalize on the fact that there is someone in their backline and we can try to delete their front line as fast as possible. But we just weren't playing that well. Like, we were throwing early lead. Like, we got so many high early advantages and we just threw them later in the mid game just because, like, we didn't really know how to position ourselves yet. We didn't really know how to play with each other since we basically only played a couple games. But I feel like now that we're a little more comfortable with each other, uh, if we had to run the Vi mid again, we might be able to run it a lot better with a comp that can follow up on it. But
Okay.
you know,
So
that's besides the point.
so are you saying we might see a Vi mid again in the future?
Listen, as much as Venom doesn't like it,
Stop.
there is a non-0% chance that you will see it again from Never
All
Saw.
right. If I see it again and it does that bad again, I'm banning it from, or I'll ban it for you
ban it.
guys.
Yeah, don't ban it. No
That's
point.
okay. I'll ban it from her myself.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Let's hear about
yeah.
your series, Mr. Gawr.
All right. I don't really want to talk too much about game one, just because I feel like there's not too much to learn from there outside of shout out to Fraud Watch. I highly suggest trying to keep it so that Barrett tells jungle and Giuseppe is bot lane, because I feel like you guys perform way better there than even if Giuseppe's main is Echo. I just feel like you guys are way more comfortable with your roles that you drafted for instead of trying to play for Giuseppe potential carry.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I guess with game one is just, if you don't know if the mid laner plays Silas and you want to be R4 Malphite, I really suggest banning Silas, just because I'm pretty sure I don't remember if it was Vanderbilt or someone, but the top 5 biggest counter picks were Silas versus Malphite in every single lane. And so it's just like you either have to draft Malphite early and ban Silas, or you save Malphite as an R5 pick. And unfortunately, our mid laner plays Silas. They R4'd Malphite. You kind of saw what happened there. Another theme that I'm also going to talk about after game 2, but game 2 was a lot more close, especially since the way that they drafted made it really difficult for me to gank any of these lanes. Because Janna has a lot of peel, can't really gank Malzahar because if I try to go and he just freaking space aids into stairs at me, and Maokai just has a lot of self peel that prevents me from dueling him, so I have to play towards Brissy. But at least with our condition for the team, it's not really a Brissy sided thing. As much as I love him, God bless his mental health for trying to freaking deal with Diamond plus top laners all the time, but can't always play towards top
Listen,
side.
he's the solo bolo king. He don't need no jungler.
Dude, you saw what happened game when he was freaking solo boloing every single moment of
Dude, I know he stole the title from me because he's playing all these diamond players and he's fucking solo killing them, and
yeah.
that's how I got the title. So I was like, okay, so cool.
Yeah, game 2's drafts for Fraud Watch was a lot better, especially Maokai, Malzahar, Zeri. Just all 3 of them together just brings a lot of AoE that we can't really contest with our comp. But the main thing that I want to preface with Fraud Watch, and this is just as a notice for you guys in the future, please stop drafting 4 AP. It is so much easier for us to actually warrant picking Karnik or Spirit Visage or Force of Nature, whatever. It's just there are so many magic damages on your team that makes us want to draft more magic resist, and it really hampers your guys' overall damage down. So if you guys can try to figure out a way to balance your AD and AP spreads, I think you'd be able to perform much better. I'm not going to enforce it though, because that's your guys' decisions, but I'd like to see at least keep that in mind.
Well, Gargura being a good guy, giving the enemy team some tips. I don't know if that's toxic or not, or helpful. But we'll move on to the next game, Savage Mongoose Dynasty versus the Krusty Trap. It was a really close series. Honestly, we went to all 3 games. Game 1, Silva was him. Savage Mongoose Dynasty just did not have anything to get on top of Silva, and even if they did get up on top of Silva, it was Alturas there with the Thresh saving him. But game 2, it was kind of the opposite. They had a really just strong team. So much dog, Riven player, Nico just were playing out of their minds. Nico got a huge lead in the mid lane and just was walking around the map killing people on the Neferi. So shout out to him. And then game 3, it was actually so close. I honestly thought the Krusty Trap were gonna win this game. But Riven player in that last little fight, Silva gets a or not a quadra, the Krusty Trap kills everyone on the team besides Riven player, and he's splitting top and kills every tower and just kills the Nexus and wins the game. I was really upset because I thought the Krusty Trap were actually going to win that game, but they didn't send everyone back. But it happens. Congrats to Savage Mongoose Dynasty for taking the dub, sitting at tied for 3rd now with 4 points. And Venom, any thoughts on this series?
This is the other series I didn't really get a chance to watch because I think it was.
I can't remember every game you hadn't seen.
Yeah, no, it was. I think this one was played on Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
But I looked over the box score, the scoreboard.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that Colin got barred finally.
Dude, it was actually so hyped. It was so hype.
I'm so sad that I missed both of Colin's Bard games. I've had to watch him play ADC for 2 seasons straight, and then was sub like he couldn't make week 1, and then I missed his 2 Bard games. But um, Words, it looks like he did well on the Bard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I said, I can't talk much more out of that. Nico, it looks like Nico popped off, and I don't want to give Sylvan Garrett crap, but going 1-10, 1-10-4 game 2 doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said,
Yeah,
I'm sure
they
there's
were having a
factors that impacted it.
honestly. I think like game two, it was just unfortunate because like the top side of the map just got ahead so early, and then Nico
Yeah,
just walked down and just killed him on repeat,
yeah.
pretty
That,
much.
that's what I assumed happened was Nico just walked bot, and then Garrett and Silva were just getting dove by an 11 and
Yeah,
grades that ended 11-2 and a Nefir that ended 10-1. So,
yeah. So,
so
uh, Gar, what are your analytic thoughts?
Oh boy, we got some notes.
Oh,
First off,
this.
uh, I thought the warning in the name Riven player would not let you give the guy Riven, but he got Riven.
Oh yeah, that was right. He got Ribbon game one. I totally forgot about that.
And
I,
then it proceeded to get banned every other game.
I just,
uh,
why would you let it through? It just makes no sense to me.
to be fair, I think they were banking on Space Walrus just stacking armor into it. So, they hoped that like Space Walrus would be able to just like take it up the butt for a little bit
I mean, yeah,
and
but
then
when you're
just face tank it
sacking
later.
like a wave and a half every like 3 minutes, you're.
See, I don't think they expected that, but it happened and it was unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, the drafts for that game, I believe, were Riven, Graves, Asol, Sarah Morgana versus Ornn, Wukong, Nico, Kaisa, Thresh. So both
Sounds
of these
right.
comps really want to fight. Uh, Especially since you have long range CC from Seraphine Morgana, and you have an Asol who wants to like kite the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, SMD's draft is really difficult to not get hit on because as soon as one of those players get caught, they're almost certainly dead. Because how exactly are you going to try to get a Wukong or Kai'Sa off of you with that team?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's also kind of like Krusty Trap really wanted to play to get this huge combo off between Ornn, Wukong, Nico, and just knowing how big those AoEs are, if all of them get caught up in it, it's almost certainly a freak wombo combo kill. But we didn't get to see that as much as we wanted. Uh, it was also kind of unfortunate for OT Gator because since their main win con is playing around Silva and Alterus, uh, trying to gank into Seraphine Morgana is very not fun. Because you have to wait for Thresh to throw a hook in order for Morgana to pop the Black Shield. And even if Wukong does try to gank them, you have the Binding coming out, or you have Seraphine's E coming out. Like, there's so much self-peel going on there that it makes it really difficult for Wukong to secure the kill.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it also doesn't help that because Silva and Garrett were too freaking good that they kept shoving the lane into their tower, that it just made it really difficult for them to try to make a tower dive because, as we said before, they have a lot of good self peel, and taking all those unnecessary risks to try to get a kill is probably not worth in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So, but considering what they're playing with Space Walrus top and Godspeed mid,
Mm-hmm.
there's not too many other places that he can go for a reliable carry outside of picking up kills for himself. So off of what they had for game one, uh, they did the best that they could. The one thing that went for them, as I mentioned before, or I don't remember if I mentioned it before, but uh, SMD's comp has zero way of getting onto Kaisa outside of like either landing the Seraphine ult or Riven jumping in from the backline.
Mm-hmm.
And as we saw from that game, Riven was mostly spending their time pushing to try to keep at least one or two players out of the fight, which in most of the case was Space Walrus and Ornn. So because of that, Silva gets free reign of whatever team fight happens, especially with having Thresh being able to peel off any threats that might go on top of her. So it just came down to the game went way too late for them to try to kill the Kai'Sa, and Kai'Sa just 1v9 carried that fight.
Yeah.
Game 2, as you mentioned before, uh, SMD just wiped the floor. They gave Riven player Fiora this time into the Ornn, and I'm sure Brissy would have said it if he was casting or if he was on the climb this time, but you do not want to play Ornn into Fiora. It is so annoying. So
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna
Oh.
actually say something here because I'm also an Ornn player, so
okay,
I don't actually think it's that bad.
you don't okay.
I don't think it's that bad. Maybe it's just because I know the matchup super well, but I don't think it's that bad because as soon as you build Thornmail, right? So now she gets reduced healing, but it's about like walking out of her like range to like get rid of the
Vitals.
Yeah, the vitals.
I get that.
I don't know if anyone doesn't know this. If when you're playing against a Fiora and you have a vital, all you have to do is walk out of her range, and the vital will actually disappear. And when you walk closer to her, a new vital will show up.
Yeah.
If anyone didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew that because Fiora's freaking cringe. I have to play against it all the time. But at least from what I saw with Space Walrus, either he didn't know that or he didn't think it was
I don't think he did.
worth the risk. So he just kept taking vitals up the butt, and it just scaled over too hard. By the time he did get Thornmail, it's like Fiora already has like two items at that point. The
Right,
Thornmail
yeah.
isn't that much of an issue. Game 3 was very fun to watch.
Yes, I agree.
I will say, KT's draft got a lot better, especially since they put Space Walrus on a much more aggressive pick. Because they put him on Warwick, which has self-sustain in lane, so he can at least duel a little bit better. It didn't really help that he was getting wave cleared out the wazoo, and every 2 minutes you'd see like a 2.5 stack waved under his tower. But it definitely helped with him not suffering as much because he's able to stay in lane longer.
I mean, he got a solo kill on Riven player.
He did get his.
I think
he did get a solo kill.
He got one at least. I know that for sure because Riven player he ulted into Riven player, and I was like, "What is this? Like, what?" He just ulted into him, but then Riven player like tries to like kill it, like ults him, and then goes under tower. And
Yeah.
he's just, and now he's just hitting him for free, and Space Walrus is just like still full health. Why, Riven player is now like a quarter HP left.
Yeah, so it definitely was a lot better pick, especially since he started roaming too. He did get a pick up on Nico,
Yep.
like at 9 or 10 minutes. But unfortunately, even with that kill, Nico was absolutely killing it mid lane. I think I was skipping around because I didn't have the time to watch the series fully. But like every time I skipped around, I see Nico just absolutely just jumping on top of Godspeed, and you'd see, Godspeed playing Grease Screen Simulator. So he was definitely pushing his lead as much as he could mid lane, and then he was also putting that towards bot lane, because there was definitely a couple ganks that he gave towards bot lane for Lord Tubby or Shrubby and Butts, sorry. And they actually got their gold value off of it. Now, despite that disadvantage, though, Silva did have a couple moments where he was able to outplay 1v2 and get his gold lead back. In fact, if you took a look at the website itself, Silva did have a 4k gold lead over Shrubby at the end of the game. But
it's actually a 4.5k gold lead.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, it is. It was large.
Yeah, But unfortunately for Silva, the substantial lead that Riven players started getting through split pushing only, and also just it didn't seem like OT Gator was able to perform all too well during this match as the Vi for this team. Uh, it just scaled down, and even though they were so close to winning off of that bot fight, because they didn't really have anyone available to answer Riven
Mm-hmm.
player, it ended with a base race, and Fiora ended the game. So
Yeah, I would have rather liked to see, honestly, everyone just go back and answer the Fiora, just because it's like, yeah, you guys could try to go for the end here, but you guys probably lose the race anyways, just because she already has like a like a 2.5 stacked waved or something like that, hitting your Nexus towers right now. So I would have rather seen that, but it's a bit unfortunate. Let us move on to the next series, Crayola Consumers versus Beaver Brigade. This is a series um, I was not expecting, honestly. It was a 2-1 series. Beaver Brigade, though, taking the win over Crayola Consumers. It was a really close series. Gotta say, the dunk stocks are on the rise. He is that man played so incredibly well into Owen Elodad, someone we have definitely hyped up on the climb because of just how good he is. But honestly, I was kind of disappointed with the Cradle Consumers. I think, game one, I think it kind of came down to like, I think it was like the one fight, and they just, or I think they got Baron, they fought, and then they won, and then they just ran it down mid and ended the game.
Yep.
Cradle Consumers, though, had a commanding lead in game two. They did a 180 and just turned everything on. And then game three, I will say Asian Jason had an incredible series on the Elise. Talked about him last week as well. Playing out of his mind on the Graves, and we were talking about like him turning on and having his team like rely on him more to carry. And this game three, I think, definitely showed that carry potential in him. So shout out to all of them. And honestly, I think I'm gonna throw a little trash talk out here. I think my hot daddy underperformed this series. Picking Rammus twice, I think, is just so troll, especially into the team game one. I definitely don't think he should have picked Rammus. Just looking at the team, there's like 0 auto attackers. The only auto attacker you're actually looking at is Xin Zhao. Like, I guess them, but it's like I don't think it's that good. Game two, I think, is definitely a lot better because you have Nocturne and them, and those are literally the only two people you need to worry about. So I definitely think my hot daddy had a rougher series this series. So we'll start with Mr. Venom. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll be honest. This one's weird because Charles did Charles things. He went 10-4 on Fizz and 9-3 on Action, and then game three he went 5-5, which outline, but his team was kind of just losing across the board. And they just couldn't really convert it. It's kind of similar problems to what we had with DPT last year. We got Charles got these insane leads through like good mechanical play and outplaying his mid laner. Obviously, World Soup is a lower elo mid laner, so it's kind of expected.
Mm-hmm.
But they just couldn't convert the lead. I think Owen game three, I don't know if he was trying to force it, like he was trying to win because maybe he was thinking like, hey, I have to be the one to win this because I'm the carry. And it looked like he forced a lot and he didn't really get much done. I don't remember exactly the bans, but Fiora
honestly, I think
I assume they banned Olaf here, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, well, the other thing is like Cassante the Cassante actually counters Fiora, so I don't know if like they third picked Fiora or something like that because they are on red side, right? So I would think you would want to give counter to Eladad, but he is in a counter matchup. Because the Cassante just kind of like after he gets like his first item, he just turns on and can kill Fiora whenever he wants, pretty much. So I
Yeah,
mean,
I think that, I don't know. I didn't think the Fiora looked that crazy game three. I think he should have played like like I said. I think Olaf was probably banned. Some of the stuff that we've seen him play.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Dunk
I don't know.
has
Like
a
Dunk neutralized
almost
him
a
game three.
4K gold league over Owen game 3. So
Yeah, like
yeah, that is
and
quite insane.
when Reds play Swain, like you need Owen to kind of win because you're not expecting the Swain to carry you.
Yeah, not until like
Um,
30 minutes to when he has like 3 items.
yeah, I think Crayola consumers will bounce back. I don't. They definitely didn't play their best, and I think
Hmm.
Dunk played extraordinarily well in terms of game three. Kind of neutralized Owen things and carrying the game.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
think Jason, and a lot of that's Jason too. Jason played
Yeah,
9-2 on the elite.
yeah. Asian Jason had a phenomenal game 3. I mean, playing out of his mind. Gargra.
The Nocturne game two. Sorry, last thing. Nocturne game two is a little rough.
Oh,
It seems like his
yeah.
Nocturne in the last couple series haven't been great, but
Honestly, I think Asian Jason should
everything else
stop
has been
playing
great.
Nocturne. Honestly, that was.
I
I
had
mean,
that on my
hey, all I'm
notes.
saying is week 1 he tried playing it, didn't do too. I mean, he did okay, but he still lost. And then he plays it this game, and it was it was a yikes moment. So,
They can
Gargra,
figure it out.
what are your thoughts on this game 3 series?
All right. Well, first off, game one. Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't I don't quite know how the blitz pick is supposed to work here. I guess they picked it like R2 R1 R2, but there is nothing that this blitzcrank can really hook outside of like trying to go for misfortune. Every single one of these people on Crayola consumers will either dodge it or will want to get hooked, and at that point it's a really useless pick for that game. Uh it's also just Owen got the lead that he wanted, but it was really difficult to try to play into, Syndra Ezreal since they play so far back.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, that's also what the Fizz is for, to dive the backline, because there's not really anything that can stop him outside of a single Blitzcrank uppercut. Uh, which did translate into the reason why Crayola consumers lost at the end. So, uh, Charles got caught clearing a ward, and so uh, I don't know if you knew it or not, but Blitzcrank E goes through the invuln of Fizz. Same with Garen E, or same with Garen Q. So he gets
Really?
caught up with that. Yeah, because
Hmm.
I think it was some patch in Season 10, but they made it so that Blitzcrank E cannot miss outside of like evasion abilities.
Huh.
So Fizz can't, or Fizz gets knocked up during his E if Blitzcrank E goes off. So he gets knocked up, his E gets interrupted. Garen comes in from behind. Dunkmaster just slams him, and
Dunk
that's
Master, I like that.
the start of the end of that game, because now their only real way besides Owen to get into the backline for a Thin World Soup is, you know, Owen, and if he just gets ran down focused, he just dies too, and now they don't have anyone to carry them through that fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate, but that one fight alone costed them that game.
Yeah.
So good job on Barbecue Leona and Dunk for actually punishing the ward cleared greed. Game two, a lot better of what they wanted to do. They wanted Owen to be on a more mobile hyper carry. They wanted Charles to be on Akshan because, hey, if you can res Owen again, it's GG's. And then clearly they drafted Ranger on his Swain bot again. I freaking hate it, but I have a personal vendetta against it. But like,
I wonder
I'd say
why.
that's his signature champion, and it did wonders there. So, with the Maokai ultimate, there was a lot of free ways to get picks onto the Beaver Brigade. If you listen to their comms, they were contrary to what you said, X-Ray, but they were complaining about the Rammus in Game 1 and Game 2. So
Really?
yeah,
I like game 2. It looks way better. Game 1, I just don't. I don't see how it's that good. That's just me
it
personally, though.
is more so towards the ego of some players because like Rammus completely denies them from doing anything if he gets a taunt off.
Hmm.
And let's just say even if Garen does his W right as Rammus taunts, it's still a quarter of a second where he can't do what he wants. So just the slight annoyance of a wall that's you can't auto attack or else he'll just kill you has just been really annoying for that team. Uh, Also, Jason just freaking needs to play more aggressive champions. Like he cannot be playing these level 6 and old champions. Like he needs to be getting these early leads because you see the Jin Zhao game, you see the Elise game. Like he's way better on early priority junglers.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, game 3 was just a masterclass top lane diff. Dunk stocks are going through the roof right now.
Dude, dunk.
Uh,
My man.
Honestly, I was watching. I was really surprised to see just how much of a difference the top lane impact was between Cassante versus Fiora. But yeah, that's all I can really say about it. Is just freaking because insert Cassante pasta right here.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure dunk is only like Oh, he's only Emerald right now, but this guy peaked Diamond 4 last season, so I'm expecting some big things from Mr. Dunk in the next up and coming weeks. So one more game, we're gonna go through it pretty quick so we can get to predictions. Mr. Roblin's Goblins versus the Academy. I don't have a lot to say. I played in the series, but it was just Roblin's Goblins. They're just an incredibly strong team right now. Roblin's Goblins have a solid secure on first place now, sitting at 6 points. Yeah, all I can really say is that team is scary because they just work so well together. The bot lane's dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Venom, any thoughts?
Yeah, this one there's not much to talk about. It was kind of just a bot diff, and like nothing against no win Strand, but like you're playing against Robin Dean, it's expected to happen. Like I don't think Noah or Strand went into that thinking like, hey, I'm gonna just blow the brakes off like Dean and Rob. Game 1 was very rough, um, extremely rough. They played a better. They brought it back better game 2. Obviously, still lost, but yeah, I think it was just more of a bot diff. It was the
Mm-hmm.
deafen bot. It was the deafen diff plus the bot diff. Um, yeah, no, there's not much to talk about. Like Rob and Dean are still dominant. They're still the best bot lane. They did it against Silva and Garrett. They did it against PPP and Strand. I think the Academy will bounce back though. I think Rob's team is probably in my top 2. I think it's them and Elend's Entourage.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
in my top.
that's kind of what I'm thinking too, and that's what it looks like right now is Robin's Goblins and Ellen's Entourage are sitting at the top 2 spots and very comfortable, I would say. Gargura, your thoughts?
I'll make it quick. Insider information. Please don't let Rob have misfortune ever again. It is turbo easy freeload gaming for him. Like especially with the drafts that Ryan has been picking up with him. Like he drafted a Mumu. what,
Oh,
twice, I
no.
think?
No, it was Brand and then a Moo.
Okay. But regardless, he's giving free setups for his win con because you can see both games, he's focusing on bot almost entirely because he knows that Rob and Dean are not going to freaking lose the game, and if he gets them ahead, they will stomp the rest of it. So there was not a lot they could do. Uh, game 2 definitely looked a lot better. I don't really like the Nasus pick game 1. As much as I enjoyed the free DK every so often, Nasus
DK.
can't. Nasus doesn't really do anything, especially into the comp they had to play against. Like, what exactly is he withering there? Like, oh god, I'm withering Misfortune, who's mostly because what Rob did the first strike build that game, I'm pretty sure. Like,
Mhm.
he doesn't care about the attack speed because he's just gonna press R and all the damage comes out of that. So there's not really anything that the Nasus does there. Game 2 looks a lot better, especially since what they drafted Rumble, Maokai, and Corki.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, and PPP was freaking cooking with J4. They were basically going for this counter fight comp where they want to have J4, Maokai, and Rumble combo their ults together so that anyone stuck in that pit would die, and then anyone who doesn't die gets picked off by Corki. But they weren't able to play towards that strength that much this game, and because of the setup that Camille support, which by the way is really strong right now, highly suggest you try it at some point. And a Mumu with the Misfortune, there's a lot easier access to these picks that Roblin Goblins wants for the Misfortune that just prevented the Academy from actually being able to do what they want. And
Mhm.
so, despite Corky trying his best to actually scale up over the rest of their team, just so many unfortunate catches and fights just wouldn't let them do this dream team combo that they wanted. And at the end of the day, Roblin's Goblins just ran him over.
Yeah. As soon as I saw the Camille pick, I was like, "That's bot lane for sure."
Oh,
As,
yeah.
as soon as I saw it, I was like, Dean is like, "Hey, we're better than these guys. I literally, I put me on anything and I'll win, and we'll win." And I just knew it automatically, remembering the Boise State days when he was on Boise State. I think he played like a Ram as bot lane one series or one game. It was crazy. But that is going to wrap up week 2. Let's take a look at predictions for week 3. Sonny, I messaged him like 4 times and he didn't put it in his predictions. So, how it works if someone doesn't put in their predictions for the week, they lose all of them. So, Sonny is now 6-9. Sorry, Sonny, but that's just how it goes. He's my captain, but that's just how the rules work, and that's what we agreed to. But let's take a look, and let's start off with game 1, Fraud Watch versus the Bendables. We're actually pretty evenly split. Venom and Gawr went with the Bendables, and me and Brissy, we predicted the Fraud Watch to win. And I'm gonna say this. I think this is the one of the teams that I think Fraud Watch can beat.
Wrong.
Wrong. I
Wrong.
think honestly, I'm a Fraud Watch enjoyer. I love the Fraud Watch. I think they're a fun team. They're definitely the team I want to see win this series. I'm gonna get a rude message when this comes up. Tubby's gonna message me and be like, "What the hell, man?" But I honestly think this is the one series Fraud Watch can win, and I want to hear Venom. What's your defense going to the
That's
Bendables?
wild. That's a wild one. I think the Bendables beats Fraud Watch. Like, if doesn't matter if Joe's jungle, AD, mid, top, support. I think I will say I think that like the mid lane matchup isn't as one sided as as it could be.
Mhm.
But I think Pai I know Pai Vod reviewed that last series. He knows what went wrong.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna be ready for this series.
Mm.
Tubby and Murph are a very good bot lane. And I think they'll bounce back against Joe and Fleas. Yeah,
Yep.
I think Bendables has this. I think Savachka didn't play as bad, didn't play that awful played pretty well last week
Mhm.
against a very good jungler in Paul.
Mhm.
So I think they'll be fine. I think they'll win this. I think it might be a 2-1, but they'll.
Yeah.
Like I said, love all the people on Fraud Watch, but I think I think Bendables is gonna win this.
All right. And move on to game 2, the Krusty Trap versus Elend's Entourage. Yeah, as you can see, pretty clear, concise number 2 team facing off. What is it? The number 3 team, or tied for 5th, I
Tied
think.
for third.
No, because I think no, Krusty Trap's only got 1 point, so they're
They're tied for
5th,
last, right?
5th, 5th. That's right. So yeah, I mean, pretty clear, conciseness there. No arguments with anyone. I think the Krusty Trap could win. It's just gonna come down to how well they can do. That's really all I gotta say about that. Let's move on to the third game, Beaver Brigade versus GKC. I'm not even gonna ask Gar. I was going to, but Venom, what's your thoughts on going Beaver Brigade here? Because it's totally not biased, Gar.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Beaver Brigade surprised me last week. I think they came out and played way better than I thought. After the week 1 kind of debacle, they kind of went back to the drawing board and figured out something.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jason keeps joking, or probably serious, that they don't scrim, so they just figured it out. I think I'm trying to think. It's I think it'll be close. I think it all depends on what Neversaw plays and if she can get ahead, like how far she
Mm-hmm.
can get ahead. Because realistically, their bot lane I think is better. Heiko's gonna hate hearing this, but I think Thim and Barbecue Leona are better than Heiko and Saucy Choss. So I think they're gonna win bot, and I think I'm blanking on who their top laner is. It's Dunk, right?
Yeah, Dunk
Yeah,
stocks
sorry.
going up.
Yeah, it's like I think I love Brissy to death, but I think Dunk's gonna get a lead top. I think they're gonna get a lead bot. Um, I think it's gonna be a rough one for Gar's team. I think they can do it. Just like I said, hinges on whether Neversaw gets a good lead.
All
They're
right,
going against World
all right,
Soup.
Gar. I will give you this one chance to defend your team real quick. What's your defense?
Brissy greater than Dunk.
Great.
That is
I
all.
love it. I love that statement.
That Jason's gonna gig a gap Gar now.
all right, all right. Let's move on to the fourth game: Roblin's Goblins versus Savage Mongoose Dynasty. Once again, pretty clear, concise. Roblin's Goblins beating Savage Mongoose Dynasty, but I will say I think one's gonna go 2-1 as well. I mean, this is like a very Roblin's Goblins very bot side heavy team, while SMD is a very top side heavy team. So we'll see how they can match up. But Roblin's Goblins does have that Masters challenge X Challenger bot lane, so they are really strong. Let's move on to the last game, the Academy versus the Crayola Consumers. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna bet against my own team, but I do want to hear from Gargura. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think Crayola consumers definitely have a really strong chance of winning. I think what happened was just the same issues that we kind of had, as well as just they got a bunch of early leads but weren't able to translate it. And
Mm-hmm.
if they're unable to make sure that the people they want to carry actually, you know, carry, then it makes it really difficult for them to play out the rest of the games because now their star player is just down in gold. But I do think whatever they are able to play as a team will most likely be better than the stuff that the academy will be able to pull out.
Okay. Fair enough.
But we'll see.
Fair enough. I mean,
2-0 Giga Gap. Academy's getting
True.
clapped up, especially
oh,
their jungler.
right.
I think it'll be a close series.
Okay, cool. No, it's cool. No. You already said your piece. That means I'm just gonna come in and I'm gonna whoop
Hey,
my
my hot
daddy's.
daddy's about to clap. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a 2.
But yeah, that is going to wrap up episode 2 of The Climb. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Venom and Gargura, for joining me this week. And yeah, week 3 is going to be starting, I'm pretty sure tomorrow. I think there's a game scheduled for tomorrow. So check it out, Summit Esports or whatever it's going to be streaming
Rob's
on.
team plays.
So, but yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.